The pre-dawn calm of January 3rd, 2026. Then a sound that would echo across the globe, over the sleeping city of Caracas. The deep, guttural roar of engines ripped through the darkness. Residents jolted from their beds. Percussive explosions rocked the capital. Flashes lit the skyline. Low-flying helicopters moved with predatory speed. Smoke, thick and acrid, climbed into the morning sky, rising from multiple points across the city. Initial confusion turned to realization. This was not a local skirmish. This was a coordinated, overwhelming military assault. News channels scrambled, cutting to eyewitness footage. Columns of fire burned fiercely near a military base, flames licking the night. People ran in the streets, fear and disbelief etched on faces. Emergency lights flashed through the pandemonium. For those on the ground like Yanir Lucas, the world felt like a war zone. The first deafening blast came around 1:50 a.m. Operation Absolute Resolve was an exercise in overwhelming military superiority, a dramatic escalation from prior U.S. activities in the region. For months, Washington targeted drug-carrying vessels in the Caribbean and in the Pacific. But this raid plunged directly into the country's heart. More than 150 aircraft, jets, helicopters. On the ground, elite forces moved with lethal efficiency. Their objective, locate and apprehend Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores. The strike met resistance. Assault teams closed in. Loyalists returned fire. One helicopter was struck as it approached the compound. It pressed on and completed its mission. Targets secured, return flight executed. A high-risk incursion with fierce, futile defense. Strategic strikes hit bases and command and control nodes. Caracas and its outskirts witnessed the power of the strikes. The landscape bore visible scars. Images of destruction spread within hours. Deep within the chaos, U.S. Special Forces detained Nicolas Maduro and Celia Flores. The couple was swiftly taken from their residence. Their status as leaders instantly nullified. Under heavy guard. By helicopter to the USS Iwo Jima, a secure offshore holding point. From there, flown to New York City, a high-profile legal battle on U.S. soil. The case rests on a 2020 grand jury indictment. Grave charges unsealed. A sprawling criminal enterprise, prosecutors allege. Narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine. Weapons offenses, possession of machine guns and destructive devices. Alleged partnerships with Sinaloa and FARC elements. Framed as law enforcement, not an act of war. A historic legal spectacle begins. Now a defendant, facing possible life in prison. President Donald Trump declared a new reality. The U.S. is in charge. A claim suggesting direct oversight after Maduro's removal. Focus, Venezuela's oil, collapsing from mismanagement, corruption, and sanctions. In the aftermath, a scramble for control began in Caracas. At the very top, a power vacuum. The Supreme Court ordered Vice President Delcy Rodriguez to assume the presidency. Swiftly endorsed by the armed forces, she condemned the raid as an illegal kidnapping and a savage attack on sovereignty, demanding immediate release of Maduro and Flores. Yet signals of pragmatism emerged, facing American military dominance and stark declarations. Venezuela remains deeply divided. The opposition's role is unclear in this new landscape. Beyond politics, the human cost is immediate. Significant casualties reported. Cuba reported 32 of its personnel killed. National mourning declared in Havana. Caracas hospitals strained to breaking. Residential damage near strike sites was severe. Families mourn the dead and displaced. A night of terror leaves a scar that lingers. The narrative of a surgical mission is complicated by collateral damage. For many, images of mourning carry more weight than indictments. The capture cleaved the world along familiar fault lines. Russia condemned the operation. China expressed deep shock, calling it a blatant use of force. The UN said it was deeply alarmed. Allies balanced concern over legality with policy alignment. Across Latin America, reactions were fractured. History's shadow loomed over the hemisphere. Legality became the central question. The charter forbids force against a state's territorial integrity or political independence, with exceptions for self-defense and Security Council approval. Neither appears to have been met. Some argue the action meets the definition of aggression. Washington casts it as law enforcement against a narco-terrorist. An emergency session convenes on January 5th. The debate now moves to the world stage. One crisis resolved, many more created. Who truly governs 30 million people? Can stability return? Power, fuel, public order. How will Russia and China respond beyond words?